She was just his alien battle dog, or so he thought in the middle of the war zone on planet Cavor 9. Nothing was quiet. Explosions echoed through the dark sky. Ships roared overhead. Dust filled the air. But through the chaos, one team moved fast. Sharp, silent and deadly, and leading that team was a human soldier named Cal Briggs, and his partner, a battle-bred alien canine named Tira. She wasn't just any alien dog. She stood as tall as his waist, with smooth midnight fur, silver stripes that glowed under moonlight, and sharp green eyes that seemed to understand everything. Her voice was deep, dry, and sarcastic. Yes, she could talk, not with her mouth but through a neural link. Only Cal could hear her thoughts, and usually she had something to say. "You missed that shot, human. Again. Embarrassing. That grenade bounced the wrong way. Should I fetch it for you like a ball? I saved your life again. You owe me snacks." She was faster than any drone, stronger than any soldier, and smarter than most commanders. Cal trusted her with his life, but he never thought of her as more than a teammate. Until that day, their mission was simple. Clear the outpost. Recover data. Get out. Cal and Tira broke through the enemy fence. He took the lead, rifle in hand. She stayed low, silent, sniffing for hidden tech. They moved like one. At the control room, things went wrong. A plasma mine, hidden under the floor, lit up as they stepped forward. Cal shouted, pushing Tira behind him. The explosion hit his side. Pain. Darkness. Silence. When he woke up, he was lying in a burnt crater. Everything hurt. Smoke stung his eyes, and above him stood Tira. She was growling at something he couldn't see. "Stay down. They're circling back." She had dragged him out, protected him, fought them off. He tried to move, but couldn't. "Tira," he whispered. "Are we?" "Shut up. You almost died. I saved your soft human body again. Don't thank me yet." Despite the pain, he laughed a little. Then he saw her eyes. They weren't angry. They were scared. She carried him on her back across broken rocks and old ruins. For hours, until they reached the drop zone. The med team picked him up, gave him injections, sealed his wounds. He passed out again. 2 days later, he sat on a medical bed, sore but breathing. Tira sat beside him, tail still, eyes locked on his. He smiled weakly. "You look like hell. You smell like it." They sat in silence for a moment. Then she stood up, walked to the door, paused, and said something strange. "You should prepare, human. We're having puppies." Cal blinked. "What?" She turned around slowly. "You heard me." He stared at her like she had just said the sky was made of cheese. "Wait, what are you talking about?" "You and me. Connected minds. Shared life during near-death event. It triggered the Velcon bonding instinct. Your DNA. It mixed with mine. I didn't plan it, but it happened. The pups are coming." Cal's brain shut off for a full 5 seconds. "You're pregnant? With my..." "Don't be dramatic. It's not weird on my planet, usually. Also, don't faint." He didn't faint, but he did fall off the bed. After a long moment of stunned silence, he sat up and whispered, "This is not in the training manual. Neither is love, loyalty, or surviving 6 tours with one dog. But here we are." In that quiet med bay, something strange happened. Cal looked at her, not as a tool, not as a soldier, not even as a dog, but as a partner, a life form who had saved him again and again, someone who had stayed by his side when everyone else was gone, and now was carrying something no human or alien had ever seen before. Their story was about to change, and the galaxy? It had no idea what was coming. Wait, this wasn't supposed to happen. Cal Briggs paced back and forth across the medbay floor, running a hand through his short hair every 5 seconds. "I mean, you're a dog. Kind of." Tira, laying calmly on the metal bed, tilted her glowing green eyes toward him. "Technically, I'm Velcan Canis Prime. genetically enhanced, combat trained, and mentally superior to at least 72% of your species. That's not helping, Tira. You didn't ask for help. You're spiraling. Watching it is entertaining. He stopped pacing and pointed at her belly, which looked completely normal. You don't even look pregnant. It doesn't show for the first 2 weeks. Our pups grow fast after that. Also, I'm stronger than I look. Cal sat down, rubbing his face. How does this even happen? I mean, we didn't... He paused, unsure how to even finish the sentence. Tira blinked slowly. No mating required. Our bond was formed through neural imprint during the moment. You almost died. Shared trauma. Emotional synchronicity. My species translates that as reproduction trigger. You're basically the spark, not the donor. Cal looked horrified and relieved at the same time. So I'm not the father? You are, in every way that matters, and you should start acting like it. Later that day, Cal tried to report it. He walked into the mission control office, cleared his throat, and said, "My alien partner is pregnant, and she says it's mine. Sort of." The officer on duty blinked. "Excuse me? I mean, it's not what it sounds like. She's Velkan. There's this bonding thing, it's biological. She says it's normal." There was a long silence. Then the officer turned and activated a secure line. "Get medical research command. Now." By evening, 2 men in gray lab coats arrived with scanners. Tira didn't like them. Not one bit. They smell like copper and secrets. They asked questions, took scans, whispered things Cal couldn't hear. Then one of them smiled coldly and said, "We'll be transferring her to the biolabs for observation." Cal stood up. "No, she stays with me." "She's carrying something unprecedented," the scientist replied. "This is beyond your clearance, soldier." Cal stepped closer. "She's my team. You want to study someone? Try me." That night, they were locked in their quarters under surveillance. Tira sat near the door, ears twitching. "They're planning to move me in the morning. I heard the guards talking." Cal leaned against the wall, arms crossed. "Then we're leaving before sunrise. You sure about that?" He nodded. "You saved me more times than I can count. Now it's my turn." She stared at him for a moment, then gave a short, sharp nod. "Then let's run, human, but not for us. For them." She looked down at her belly. Before dawn, Cal disabled the security cams using a code from a friend in Tech Ops. They slipped through the hangar unnoticed, using service tunnels and scent-blocking spray Tira hated. "It smells like spoiled fruit and panic." "That's freedom, Tira. Breathe it in." They reached the edge of the launch pad just as a small scout ship prepared to leave on supply duty. Cal looked at her. "Once we're up there, there's no turning back." Good. By the time the base realized they were gone, the stars had already swallowed them. Inside the stolen ship, Cal piloted with one hand, checking nav maps with the other. Tira curled on the floor near his feet, resting but alert. "We need a place with cover." "Somewhere off the grid. Already scanning. I know a moon near the edge of Sector 9. No comms, no patrols, just rocks and air." "Perfect. Puppies like rocks, right?" He laughed despite himself. "Do you even know what you're doing?" "Not really, but I've got instincts. And I've got you." Cal looked down at her. Something inside him shifted. This wasn't just a mission anymore. This was something real, unexpected, alive. Behind them, on Earth Command, a blinking file appeared in red. Velkan-human hybrid confirmed. Class Alpha. Status recapture priority. High and far away. Someone smiled. "They're running. Let them. We'll take the pups when they're born." They came to take her. He fought back. The moon had no name. It didn't need one. It was quiet, cold, forgotten. And that's exactly why Cal Briggs had chosen it. For 2 weeks, he and Tira stayed hidden in the shadow of the cliffs. Their ship was buried under rocks and camo mesh. Cal built a small shelter using field tech and spare panels. Tira dug her own sleeping spot under a large tree root, like a true Velkan canine, half wild, half warrior. They were safe, or so they thought. Cal spent the days fixing their radio jammer, scanning the skies for patrols, and watching over Tira. She was changing. Her body was a little rounder now, not weak, never weak, just full of something new. Life, and not just any life. "Do you feel them?" he asked one night. Tira was curled beside the fire, eyes glowing faintly. "Yes, they dream already. I can hear tiny thoughts. Hungry ones." He laughed. "You'll be a great mom. You'll be a decent dad, if you stop burning the rations." The peace didn't last. It never does. On the 15th day, Cal's scanner picked up movement in orbit. Too quiet. Too slow. A dropship, stealth class, no ID, no comms. "They found us," Cal said, eyes narrowing. Tira stood immediately. "They'll come for me, and the pups." He loaded his rifle. "No, they'll have to come through me." At nightfall, the ship landed half a mile away. Black armor, silent boots, 8 men, 1 medic, 1 containment pod. They moved like shadows, scanning the terrain, closing in fast. But Cal had prepared. He laced the trees with EMP traps, rigged smoke bombs in the canyon, and buried flash drones in the ground. He didn't run. He waited. The first soldier stepped near the canyon. Boom. A burst of white light sent him crashing back, systems fried. The others scattered, trying to flank. Flash, smoke, screams. 2 went down in the fog. Then came the message, cold, robotic, from the enemy. "Comms. Do not harm the hybrid, neutralize the human." Cal heard it through the radio jammer. "They're not even pretending anymore," he muttered. Tira's voice echoed in his mind. "They see me as a science project, and you as, disposable." He smiled darkly. "Let's disappoint them." They met the team near the outer ridge. Cal fired first, quick, clean shots that sent sparks flying from the troopers' chest plates. Tira leaped from the shadows, her claws slicing through armor with sharp, brutal precision. One soldier aimed a tranquilizer at her belly. He didn't get the chance to pull the trigger. Cal tackled him hard, fist to helmet, until the man didn't move anymore. Tira's growl rose behind him. More coming. From the north. Cal turned. "I've got one last surprise." He activated the cliff charge. The rock wall behind them collapsed, blocking the north path completely. Dust filled the air. Silence followed. Only 3 soldiers remained. They dropped their weapons, raised their hands, retreated. Fast. Back at the shelter, Cal collapsed beside the fire, breathing hard. His armor was dented, his knuckles bleeding. But Tira walked to him slowly and sat close. "You're hurt. I'll live." "You didn't have to do all that," he looked at her. "Yes, I did. You're my partner, my friend. And those pups, they're not just yours anymore." She blinked slowly. "You really mean that?" "I do." She leaned against him, her voice softer. "Then next time, human, we fight together." That night, as stars returned to the sky, Tira curled beside him, her head on his chest. Inside her belly, something stirred. New life. Hybrid. Unplanned. And absolutely not to be owned. Across the galaxy, Earth Command received the failed mission report. The file was marked Cal Briggs, active traitor. Tira, unstable genetic threat. The order was clear. Send a full recovery team, or eliminate them both. But none of them knew what was truly coming, because Tira wasn't just pregnant, she was evolving, and her pups, they would change everything. The puppies aren't ordinary. 3 days passed since the ambush. Cal reinforced the shelter walls, replaced the motion sensors, laid new traps. Tira mostly slept now. Her body was changing fast. Not weaker, just different. Her fur shimmered faintly in the dark. Her heartbeat had slowed, but it beat louder. Sometimes she'd twitch in her sleep and whisper strange words in a language Cal didn't recognize. And once, just once, he saw her eyes glow blue instead of green. He didn't say anything then, but he never forgot. That morning she stood slowly and walked to the edge of the ridge. Her movements were slower, heavy, but graceful, like something royal. Cal followed. "You okay?" he asked. "They're speaking to me," she said quietly. "Who?" "The pups. I hear them in dreams. They ask questions. They know your name." Cal's chest tightened. "They're not born yet. Doesn't matter. They're learning through me. Through us." Later, while repairing a solar panel, Cal noticed something strange. His tools moved on their own. A wrench floated an inch off the ground before dropping. At first, he thought it was a magnetic glitch, until Tira stepped into the room, and all the lights flickered. She looked confused. "I feel pressure in the air, like electricity. But it's not me." Then her head turned sharply toward her belly. It's them. The next night, Cal dreamed, he was running through a forest of glowing trees. Barefoot, breathless. Something chased him. Dark, cold, angry. But just as it reached him, the darkness stopped, blocked by 3 small figures with glowing eyes. He woke up sweating. Tira was already sitting beside the bed. "They showed you too." After that, things got weirder. Tira's scent changed like ozone and fresh metal. She could predict Cal's thoughts before he spoke. She finished his sentences, and once, when a wild animal attacked near the shelter, she froze it mid-air without touching it. Cal stared, jaw open. "You did that?" "No." "They did." That night, Cal sat beside her as she lay on a blanket, belly rising and falling. He placed his hand gently on her side. "I don't understand any of this," he said softly. "Neither do I, but I know one thing." "What's that?" "They're not normal pups. They're something new." She paused. "Part of me, part of you, and something else, something bigger." Far above them, deep in a research station orbiting a red dwarf, a scientist reviewed the old scans again. "Run it one more time," she said. The AI obeyed. It showed genetic sequences, Velcan strands and human strands, but fused by something unidentifiable, something ancient. The scientist leaned back, pale. "This isn't just hybrid evolution," she whispered. "This is unnatural." Back on the moon, Cal and Tira ate in silence. Until Tira raised her head, alert. "Someone just tried to reach me, not with words, but a pull, a call." "From where?" "I don't know. But they're looking for the pups." Cal stood up fast. "We need to move again." "No." He turned. "What?" Tira stood slowly, eyes glowing faint blue. "Running is over. If they want to take them, they'll have to try." That night the moon was quiet again. Too quiet. Even the wind had stopped, and in that stillness, the pups moved. Cal saw her wince, then smile. "They're strong." He stepped forward, held her gently. "You're stronger." Later she slept, and as she dreamed, a soft light surrounded her belly, pale blue, then golden, and inside, 3 tiny heartbeats echoed into the stars, not just beating, calling, somewhere. In deep space, and something heard, and changed direction. "The government wants the pups, at any cost." The message was short and cold. "Unit located. Hybrid pregnancy confirmed. Orders. Extract specimens. Terminate human asset if necessary. Priority. Level black." It was sent from Earth Command to a private military group called Unit 7. These weren't regular soldiers. They were cleaners. No questions. No mercy. Just results. On the far edge of the system, their black ship jumped to hyperspeed, heading straight for the nameless moon where Cal, Briggs, and Tira were hiding. They weren't coming to talk. They were coming to take. Down below, Cal didn't know about the transmission, but he felt something was wrong. Tira, lying near the fire with her head on her paws, lifted her eyes. "You sense it too?" He nodded. "Yeah." Like the air got heavier. She exhaled slowly. "They're close." Cal checked his scanners. Still no sign. But that meant nothing. Unit 7 didn't broadcast. They hunted like ghosts. "We can't fight another full team," he said quietly. "Then we don't fight like last time." She stood slowly. We outsmart them, but the pups had other plans. That night, as Tira slept, the temperature in the shelter dropped. The fire flickered blue. And Cal heard a sound, not from outside, not from any comms, but inside his head. Protect. Her. He turned, heart racing. Tira was still asleep, but glowing softly. Her belly shimmered with light. They are not ready, but they are aware. The voice wasn't hers, it wasn't human, it was something new, and it was speaking through the unborn. When Cal told Tira the next morning, she didn't laugh. She didn't question it. She just looked at him with calm, serious eyes. They've chosen you. That means something. Yeah, Cal muttered. It means I can't screw this up. Then don't. By nightfall, the enemy ship entered the moon's orbit, silent, invisible, deadly. 10 soldiers dropped to the surface, full armor, no names. Their mission, recover the hybrid pups alive. Everything else? Expendable. But Cal and Tira were ready. The shelter was empty when Unit 7 arrived. No heat readings, no movement. They scanned the ground. Clean. Too clean. The leader gave a signal, spread out, search pattern Gamma. 10 minutes later, one of the soldiers vanished from the map, then another. No bodies, just silence. The team moved faster now, tighter. But the air felt wrong, too cold, too quiet, like the moon itself was watching. Inside a nearby cavern, Cal whispered into the comm. They took the bait. Signal jammers active. No help is coming for them. Tira sat beside him, breathing slow but steady. They'll push harder when they panic. I know. He looked down at her belly, now glowing faint gold, pulsing like a heartbeat. They're changing again, aren't they? Yes. They're aware of danger. They're responding. They don't want to be taken. Outside, a soldier suddenly screamed. He fired into the dark, then vanished. The others ran to his last location but found nothing, only a message carved into the stone wall. Not yours. The Unit 7 commander growled through his helmet. Enough. Games. Gas the whole sector. From inside the cave, Cal saw the green mist rolling in. They're deploying toxins. We have to move. No, he said. We finish it now. He triggered a pulse device, one built from old tech and alien mods. It sent a shockwave through the valley, disrupting all electronics. The enemy comms failed, their suits locked, their helmets glitched, and that's when Tira stepped into the open. Glowing. Powerful, and no longer just a battle dog. She didn't attack with teeth or claws. She didn't need to. Her pups, still unborn, sent a blast of invisible force through her body. The ground cracked. The sky shook. The soldiers fell, dropping their weapons, clutching their heads, begging for silence. Then it stopped, and they were gone. Every one of them, unconscious, breathing, but broken inside. Cal ran to her. She collapsed into his arms, tired but alive. They fought with me. I know, he whispered. He touched her belly gently. Thank you. Above the moon, the black ship waited for a reply. It never came. The report was sent back to Earth. Target not found. Team presumed lost. Sector compromised. And under that one more line. Do not engage, not until we understand what they are. But by then it would be too late, because the pups were almost here. And they weren't just life. They were evolution. She almost died to save them. The storm rolled in fast. Lightning flashed across the sky of the nameless moon. But it wasn't natural. This storm was coming from inside, from her. Tira lay in the center of the cave, her body shaking. Her fur, usually sleek and dark, now glowed faint gold. Her claws dug into the dirt. Her breath came in sharp, fast bursts. And her eyes, once bright green, now flickered between blue and silver. Cal knelt beside her, hands trembling. He had faced war, death, alien soldiers. But this was the one thing he wasn't trained for. Is it time? He whispered. Tira nodded slowly. They're coming. Now. The pups weren't just kicking anymore. They were pushing, growing, changing her. Every cell in her body lit with heat and pressure. She felt like her bones were melting and rebuilding at the same time. But she didn't cry out. Not once. She kept her eyes on Cal. You stay, no matter what happens. I'm not going anywhere, he said, voice cracking. He grabbed a cloth, soaked it in water and pressed it gently to her head. You've already done enough, she whispered. But I'm not finished yet. Outside the cave, winds howled. Sensors picked up movement in the sky, unmarked drones scanning. The world was watching, waiting, but nothing could enter, because something was happening that broke all rules of science and war. A Velkan was giving birth to something new. Cal had built a makeshift shield wall inside the cave entrance using scrap metal and cloaking panels. It wasn't perfect, but it would buy them time. Still, he checked his blaster every few minutes, just in case. But deep down, he knew. This wasn't a battle he could win with weapons. Hours passed. Tira trembled, groaned, sweated. She was strong, but her body was weakening. It's too much, she gasped. They're pulling energy from me, more than I thought. Cal pressed his forehead against hers. You're not alone, you hear me? I'm here. They need more strength, but I don't have it. And then, her eyes closed. Her breath stopped. Just for a second. But it was long enough to scare him. Tira? She didn't respond. Her body went limp. He screamed her name again, but her mind was silent. For the first time since they bonded. There was nothing. No voice. No link. No thought. Just cold. He dropped his weapons and held her tight. No, he whispered. Not like this. Not after everything. He placed his hand over her belly, warm, glowing, full of quiet life, and he whispered something he hadn't said before. I love you. Something sparked. Not in the cave. In the air. A pulse. Then a hum. The glow from Tira's belly grew brighter, blinding. Cal fell back, shielding his eyes. A high sound filled the cave like a song made of wind and light. And then, silence. Tira gasped. Her chest rose again. Her eyes opened, glowing pure white. And then came the sound that changed everything. A soft cry. Not loud, not sharp, but clear. New life. 3 small figures emerged from the glow, each one wrapped in a shimmering cocoon of light. Their shapes were like Tira, Canine, but thinner, longer. Their eyes opened early, bright, intelligent. They walked, not crawled, toward her. One nuzzled against her chest. She cried softly. They're perfect. Cal watched from behind a veil of tears, and for the first time in his life, he dropped to his knees. In awe, he reached out. One pup stepped forward, tiny paws glowing. It touched his hand with its nose, and a voice, soft and childlike, echoed in his mind. Hello, Father, he gasped, then laughed, then cried harder. Tira smiled, weak but proud. They know you. They chose you. Above the moon, the drones recorded everything, but the command center didn't understand what they were seeing. A birth? A power surge? An evolution? They didn't know yet. But they were afraid. A new report was sent to Earth Command. Target has given birth, 3 life forms, unknown abilities, awaiting further orders. But back in the cave, there were no orders, no ranks, no war, only 1 human, 1 alien, and 3 tiny miracles. Tira almost died to save them, but she didn't. She lived. And so did something greater. A future. The pups are the future, and he's their father. 3 days had passed since the birth. The cave was quiet now. No storms, no drones, no war, just peace, and the sound of soft paws pattering across the stone floor. Cal Briggs sat at the edge of the cave, watching the sunrise. Gold streaked across the sky like a painting. The air smelled clean, still and unfamiliar. Beside him, Tira lay resting. She was healing slowly. Her strength had returned, though her eyes still looked distant, like they were seeing something, far beyond the stars. And between them, curled together like tiny stars of their own, were the three pups. Each one was different. One had deep green eyes that glowed at night. One could lift small rocks without touching them. One could speak, not out loud but directly into Cal's mind, clear as a whisper. "Good morning, Father." He still wasn't used to that, but it made him smile every time. He had no idea what they were exactly. Not fully Velkan, not fully human, but something more. And somehow, they were his, not by blood, but by choice, by bond, by love. Tira stretched, slowly, and sat up. "You haven't slept." "I'm too tired to sleep," Cal replied. "They won't stay quiet forever. You'll miss sleep when they're running up walls." He chuckled. "They already tried yesterday." Tira smiled faintly, then looked out toward the horizon. "They'll come back. Earth. Velka. Someone will." "I know. And what will we do?" He looked down at the pups, now curled at his feet. One lifted its head and stared at him. With eyes full of light. "We want to be free." Cal nodded slowly. "Then we give them that." Back on Earth, the footage had spread across every secret channel. Scientists couldn't explain the birth. Commanders couldn't explain the power. But everyone agreed on one thing. The pups were a threat or a hope, depending on who was watching. Meeting was held behind closed doors. Military leaders, alien ambassadors, Velkan elders, and one hard truth. We can't control them, but we can't destroy them either. They carry both bloodlines. They could unite or divide. Then, don't make them enemies. They sent a message to the moon, a coded pulse, a request for peace, a plea for contact. Cal received it near sunset. He stood at the edge of the ridge holding the small communicator Tira had once stolen from a downed drone. He read the message 3 times, then passed it to Tira. "What do you think?" "It's a trap." "Maybe. But maybe it's a beginning." Later that night, Cal sat with the pups. He told them a story about Earth, about Velka, about fear and hope and love that wasn't expected, but still happened anyway. They listened, quietly. Then one of them, smallest and brightest, spoke softly into his mind. "We will not be weapons. We will choose." The next day, Cal stood beside the old launch beacon. He looked into the sky and activated the signal. "Cal Briggs, former Earth soldier, current father. I'm not running anymore, and neither are they. We'll meet, on our terms." A week later, on a floating platform above neutral space, the world met the pups. No guns, no suits, no cages, just a simple gathering, and a quiet moment. The pups walked between humans and aliens, curious and calm. One licked a soldier's boot. One lifted a flower into the air. One spoke into a general's mind and said, "You don't have to be afraid of what's new." Across the stars, people watched and believed. Maybe things could change. Maybe peace wasn't just a word. Maybe it had pause and light and laughter. Back on the moon, Tira sat beside Cal. He had never looked more tired or more alive. "You did it," she said. He shook his head. "No, we did." He looked at her belly, no longer glowing but still warm. "You nearly died for them." "I'd do it again." He reached out, took her paw in his hand. "You gave me something I didn't know I was missing. A family." The pups ran through, the cave behind them, chasing light and playing with shadows. And Cal smiled, because he wasn't just a soldier anymore. He was a father. And they weren't just pups. They were the future.